Welcome to the Language Learners Lounge podcast, where we discuss and learn more about the wonderful world of learning foreign languages. The views, opinions, and suggestions mentioned in today's episode are that of the hosts and guests and do not reflect any actual research unless otherwise mentioned or cited. Thank you for listening and enjoy this week's discussion. And welcome back to another episode. We've had an interesting trial and error the last episode, but this time we're able to make things work this time.
Yep. At least we should be able to.
We should be able to. So far things are running smoothly right now, but hopefully that's going to be the last thing we'll have to worry about. So welcome to this episode of the Language Learners Lounge. My name is Kyler Lopez.
And I'm Joshua Flood.
And we've got an interesting topic of conversation for this one. We did a lot on understanding. We did a lot on hearing and reading and speaking. This is our first time touching up on writing. And for once, I was not the one to introduce the topic beforehand. So, yeah, Joshua, if you want to go ahead and take the lead on this one.
Yeah, so I thought it would be kind of interesting today to go over a different aspect of language learning, and that would be the writing aspect or the reading. And I think I think is just most languages that we learn nowadays, especially in schools, will use like the typical Latin alphabet, which is kind of your A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all that stuff. And you just kind of, and however, when you look at the entirety of the world, there's a lot of different writing styles that you probably have ran into.
Oh,
So
yeah.
let they I'll go ahead and show you. I think I'll start off with. Oh wait, it says sharing is turned off.
Oh, I gotta fix that.
Hmm.
Share settings.
Yeah. Well, I'll just introduce the first. Probably the first one I want to go over is probably one of the most, if not the most interesting writing systems, like of all, probably of any that we see.
Yeah. Let's see. If I make you a host,
All right.
let's
I
let's see if that works.
should be able to now. All right. So, yeah, we look here at Chinese, the Hanzi. So the thing is that most Chinese characters, you look at them, they're not really phonetic, as you see. They don't. I mean, there are some like exceptions, but when you kind of look at them, you probably wouldn't be able to tell them just based on looking at them.
Yeah. And I think what's
And,
interesting about, the Chinese writing style is you take a look at, how different things are like used in the alphabet. Most words are usually just one character,
mm-hmm.
which which to me is fascinating and honestly makes learning I feel like that part of learning Chinese makes it a little difficult because each character is very unique to one word.
Yep. Yeah, and that's not to say that words don't have multiple meanings.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
you, like just today, I learned. Give me 1 second. Pulling out a little book here. That the word for where is it? Xiang, not xiang, which is it means it could mean like to want, to think, or to miss something or someone. Though I think it's more someone, if I recall.
Yeah.
But kind of kind of like that. They can have multiple meanings, but at the same time, typically when you see a character, it normally has like one or two ways to say it, but typically it's one. And uh, but the thing is that I'd say that the other I say, in my opinion, the harder aspect is learning the tones and knowing what associates with that character. So
Yeah. The tones are
That
always going to be a tricky one.
yeah.
The nice thing, though, is that when you look at the pinyin version or like the Latinized version of Chinese, at least looking at the tones makes sense as far as like how your vocal should move, like going from down to up or from up to down or from up to down and then back up. You know, it's
Yep.
nice because the
Um
intonation marks are that self-explanatory.
yeah.
But then you look at the tones for like Vietnamese, and it doesn't really do that. So, at least for me, it's still a bit of a brain teaser as far as like learning the Vietnamese tones. Like
Yeah.
I can get the pronunciation of the characters right. It's getting the tones that I'm still working on because they're not as self-explanatory as Chinese is.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, so that's kind of a good thing about Chinese is that the tones are at least self-explanatory, and as difficult as it is for to get into the writing system, it's kind of like looking at a pit. It's kind of like associating a word with a picture, I
Yeah.
would say. And like eventually, and as you like see patterns and like how it's used, like eventually you'll start to recognize like, oh yeah, yeah, this character is Wo, which is the word for I
Yeah.
or myself. And then like some of them are also somewhat easy. It's just like like E, which is one, has is this just a straight line.
Hmm.
I don't know if you can see my mouse, but it's kind of that that little straight line right there.
Well, I
Kind of
mean,
easy to say.
for those who are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it's going to be difficult for them to see it, but at least for those on
Yeah.
YouTube, they'll be able to.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say this will probably be a decently visual episode. So I do apologize to the Spotify and podcast users.
but we're trying to make it work the best we can.
Yeah, we'll try our best. But yeah, we kind of have the E here, which is basically just a straight horizontal line. You kind of uh, it's just straight horizontal line. It that one's kind of self-explanatory of what it is when you see it. It's just one straight line.
Yeah.
All right. But then you have like other ones that are a bit harder to understand. Like I'd say like just kind of a few of those multi-line ones that you just don't it's more of just you wouldn't guess it just by looking at it. It's like wall. I'd say it's you wouldn't tell that it's supposed to be the word for I or like the first person singular word or if well I guess just first person I guess. It's because woman is
Yeah.
it, it it's just wall plus men. And then but you wouldn't tell that it was that it's supposed to be the word for I. Just
No, and I feel like what helps with that is when you like read through enough Chinese and actually start recognizing it by sight. That's one of the things I like about apps like Embark or Duolingo is that they have some of those writing exercises
yep.
for those characters. Now, I'll be honest, with Chinese, I haven't done many of the writing exercises, but I do a lot of the other like reading exercises where they like put the characters on, and just from hearing, I'm able to tie in sound with the character. So that
Yeah.
helps me get it down a little bit easier.
Yeah, and I will say how you write it, like the order you write it is considered important from how you do it. So that can be a little bit difficult. There are some rules that like and some patterns that you start to recognize with some characters, but sometimes you just look at a character and think it's one way, but then you look at how it's supposed to be written and it's not. It's not as it's not. I don't think it's as simple as some people as the rules will make it be, but it's
Well,
certainly
the thing that makes it difficult is the fact that there are individual characters with different words. That's the only thing I see difficult about it. I mean, of course, other than memorizing the writing patterns, because similar to using the wrong tone, if you make the wrong line, it could mean something completely different.
yeah. You could say the word for four, but then you accidentally say the word for death.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. What? Yeah, why else do you think in full? My Chinese teacher even told me that the number four is considered an unlucky number because of how close it is to the word death.
I would believe that. I would believe that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think yeah, TLDR Chinese characters probably one of the more interesting writing styles, and it is very. Uh, but one of the cool aspects is that it works for multiple languages like Mandarin, Cantonese, and yeah.
This is probably the first time I've heard any of us do like a vocalized TLDR for one of these.
Yeah.
I mean, it's entertaining, honestly. Just shoving right into like, all right, TLDR. Point is this.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to one that is both easier and harder at the exact same time. Hold on, give it one second. Japanese kana.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I mean, so here's my thing with Japanese kana. I'm able. What makes. Where's my brain going?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay, I think I know what I'm trying to say now. It was easy for me to pick up on things like the hiragana and the katakana for Japanese. What makes it so trippy, though, is their use of, the Chinese characters for the kanji.
Hmm.
So, so that's, to me at least, is what makes, uh, Japanese alphabet just a little bit more difficult to learn. I mean, when you focus on, the hiragana and the katakana side of things, it becomes easy, especially if you already have like the Japanese literature right in front of you, and you can just like bounce between the alphabetical chart and what you're reading, and just keep.
Yeah. Personally, I would argue that in terms of like Asian writing systems that I've seen, I honestly think hiragana and katakana are honestly the two easiest
Yeah.
to the easiest ones to like read and like understand what the characters are saying. Because like I think Korean could beat it out to some people, but I could see, but I think like just we'll talk more about Korean in just one second, but in just a bit. But the thing about the way that stacks can be a little confusing at times, but I think like at least to me the katakana and hiragana are honestly the easiest part. What makes each Japanese writing system difficult is, well, for one, you have to learn three writing systems, hiragana and katakana. But luckily, hiragana and katakana, I say, are relatively easy. Just as each sound goes with a word,
Mm-hmm.
it goes with a letter, one kana. But then we get into the other aspect that I think is hard, the third writing system, and that is kanji. Eh,
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of, you know how we mentioned the Chinese characters? Yeah, that's what kanji is basically.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, there's also the kun reading and the on reading for one.
Yeah.
And and I don't remember which one it was. Like one of them is like it's typically you use it for when you combine two kanji or something like that, and the other is like you combine a kanji with the thing. Yeah, something like that.
It's something along those lines.
Yeah. It's been a while since I looked at the kanji rules and all that stuff. So,
And the other part that I feel like trips a lot of people up is, especially if you start learning Japanese on Duolingo, they teach you the left to right reading pattern with Japanese. But I have had several moments where you typically read it like top down, right to left. Uh, so like,
hmm.
some of the scriptures and other books that I have that are in Japanese, they typically go top to bottom, right to left, which definitely throws a lot of people off when they look at it. I haven't actually read a lot of manga to really understand, its reading patterns, but I know you read it from
Yeah.
what we would know to be the back cover to what we would also know to be the front cover. So
Yeah.
it's an
I mean,
interesting process.
you look at this like Book of Mormon. Yeah, we are LDS. Um, you see that the back cover is on the right.
Yeah.
That this is the front pit. This is the front cover for them. And then I would read it like this, and then you kind of look at it's probably hard to see, but like you look at these pages and you see that it's kind of goes up up and down, but you would also read it like from right er, from the rightmost line and then kind of go left as you go.
Yeah. I'm glad you had a visual demo. I am nowhere near Indiana right now. I'm nowhere near my home for me to pull out my own demo of it. So I'm glad you
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. And I do. Oh wait, no, I don't have any of my manga with me, so I don't think I can. Yeah, I think yeah, all packed away in storage. Oh well.
Next time. Next time.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I don't. I mean, granted, the manga I have aren't in Japanese, but like even if you have like like an English translated manga, you can. Everybody knows that anybody who's read them know that the back cover is normally what we would think would be the back cover is the front cover, and then you would read it right. The panels right to left,
Yeah.
and yeah,
That's one of the nice self explanatory things about manga and with it having Japanese origins is because it already has that traditional style to it. You know, people just already know which way to go, whether it's whether they have it in the Japanese version or the English version. So it makes things
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, luckily a lot of those translator companies like Viz and all that stuff done done a good job in trying to make sure everybody knows, hey, make sure you read right to left. Hmm. All right. And I think that's most of what we say about Japanese that I can think of.
Yeah,
Just
I can't really think of anything else that we could talk about with Japanese.
Yeah, just
Sh-
now that there's three writing systems, two of them are relatively easy. I guess hiragana is more for original Japanese words. Or it's katakana is more for borrowed words like ice cream or something like that.
yeah, I like see it for that, but then I also see katakana used for like names and
Yeah.
things like that. So like,
Yeah, I mean unless the name is like originally Japanese or Asian or some other Asian one, then they might be written in like kanji, maybe a couple of times in hiragana. But if it's like a name from another country, they typically will be in katakana.
yeah.
So yeah.
And
All right.
speaking of top down reading styles, we got a little bit more top down to talk about.
Yeah. We're talking about Korean, right? Or am I thinking of
Yep.
another system?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't read as much Korean as I have like Japanese,
Yeah.
but I do have a Korean one. And like to be fair, when it yeah, here we are. I have it. I have my Korean one right here. I don't really have many other books that are of Korean origin, so
Yeah. The Book of Mormon is really all I got as a Korean piece of literature right now. I know back in Indiana, there's a library that actually has Korean books, so I might check some of those out of the library, uh,
yeah.
just so I
I've
can say that I've read some pieces of literature that are not in English that I'm a little more familiar with.
yeah. All right. So anyway, speaking of Korean, let's talk about its writing system. It is it is different from how other ones do it. I will say it is mostly phonetic, depending on how from what I know. And but here is like something that the Korean system does over other systems is that in order to make one whereas eh, to make their things kind of build off of each other.
Yeah, it's like they build off of each other, and then based on the kind of word, you definitely do have to read it from like top down, left to right, as far as like the
Hmm.
characters go. Uh, Traditional writing style for Korean usually just sticks to its original, uh, left to right reading style. But as far as like trying to read the
Yeah.
characters, you got to do that left to right, top to bottom.
Hmm. Yep. So yeah, you kind of look here. You have like ga, na, and then like it because like there there's like the ones that go on the right of the consonant character, which is kind of like these first four that we see up here if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then and then there's those ones that kind of go below it, as we see with the O, with like from O all the way down to E. eh, they they kind of go below that, so you would read it like kind of kind of left to right. Then you go to the more bottom characters, and then I do know that there's a couple of consonants that actually do kind of go below that do sometimes go below.
Yep,
I don't.
I'm aware of those. It's a little bit interesting, and you really got to watch those just a little bit carefully. I mean, because I've known sometimes those characters can have different pronunciations of some kind.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, they can sometimes have different pronunciations. I haven't studied Korean as much as like I've studied Chinese or even Japanese. So I'm not as too familiar with the subject, but yeah, basically a Korean is a bit different. In some ways you could say in some ways it's easier because you don't have to like memorize because you don't really have to like because it doesn't really have any of the kanji writing system. So in some ways it's a bit easier. But I'd say in other ways it could be a bit different for you. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah,
Any
yeah, it really depends. It really depends. I mean, everybody handles writing a little bit differently.
Yeah. And I mean, now that I think about it, there's also like the double. Sometimes you also get like a double consonant and for Hangul. So yeah. But yeah, that's basically it for the big Asian languages. I know that Asian languages have like way more. And I think like Vietnamese, Laotian and
Taiwanese
language,
definitely has their own alphabet.
Taiwanese, Taiwanese. Yeah. All right. But let's move on from Asian languages and start talking about uh, a few of the
Oh,
Middle
yes!
East languages, uh, alphabets. Anyway, I totally forgot to add one. Give me 1 second.
Is it a oh Hebrew? That's a good
Yeah,
alphabet to include.
yeah. Especially since like Arabic and Hebrew are kind of have a somewhat similar, let's say, way of forming things.
Yeah,
Senses.
yeah, and I
Yeah,
mean,
that
what made Arabic easy for me to learn, ish, is that you know they have their independent letters with their own independent sounds, but you also have to remember what they look like when they're connected to other letters, because some of them connect, some of them don't, and that becomes a brain teaser usually. So it's one of those you really have to look for those changes, kind of those
yeah.
key signifiers that separates what makes what letter in the writing.
Yeah, and I think as you can see here, they also change whether they're the first letter of the word, the medial or the final or separate. Kind of as Kyler said, like it changes depending on how it's used.
Yeah, so like
And if
Yeah, so like one that I'm looking at right now is actually the sounds for like the th, the t, and the b that I'm looking at. So
Yeah.
because they all have the same base, but you have to pay attention to the dots that line it
Yeah.
because it still makes that little boat pattern. But then a B
Yeah.
has the dot at the bottom. The T sound has the two dots on top, and then the TH sound has three dots on top.
Hmm. Yeah, and if I recall correctly, the that paying attention to the dots is very important, like not just for the consonants, but also for the vowels as well. Because like if I recall,
Yeah,
they mainly have like diacritics.
they do. Yeah, Arabic Arabic loves their diacritics. I actually have with me an Arabic Bible, and the amount of diacritics you see in one sentence is kind of insane, but it also is very helpful in knowing different letters because some of the diacritics depict vowel sounds, which they only have two ish. No, they have three general ones. So for us, it's the A, the I, and the U. At least if we were to
Hmm.
translate it into English. But then they have other diacritics that is like, do we shorten it? Do we lengthen the vowel sound? Or do we just cut out the vowel as a whole and just make the two consonants mixed together? So
Yep.
it's interesting, and they all look very different, and they can be placed either on top of the letter or at the bottom of the letter based on what the pronunciation you're looking for is.
Yep.
And so that's really where it gets a little interesting with Arabic is trying to also remember the diacritics to it.
Hmm.
And outside of this also being like a cursive style language, I mean, there's another language out there that is also like cursive style, Sanskrit, what's
Yep.
typically used for like Punjabi or Hindi. That one also,
Hmm.
that one in a way uses diacritics. It's not, it's not exactly the same. It's like the main diacritic to look for is known as the Vishrama, which is
Hmm.
which is the one that's used to like cancel out a vowel sound and put two consonants together or double up a consonant.
Yep.
So it's very interesting, and they have other diacritics as well in Hindi that depict different vowel sounds as well. It's like a long A, long E, short E. All of those they each have one, and they can be placed either in front of the letter or behind the letter or be connected to the letter, like
Hmm.
their own little hash mark on the consonant. So it's very interesting looking at languages like Arabic and Hindi or even Punjabi and
Yeah.
seeing like what that looks like in their writing style because doing things like
Yeah.
the I don't remember what the Arabic script is called, but doing it with Arabic or Persian, which I know use the same
Hmm.
writing style, and then using Sanskrit. It's so fun to actually look at how they're interconnected, but they still are words of
Yep.
their own.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those Middle Eastern and like Southern Asian and languages certainly have a lot of overlap between them.
Hmm.
In terms of the writing system, especially with like to transition into our next one, and one that I probably have a little bit more experience with than the Arabic one, but you kind of look at the Hebrew and you can kind of see some patterns between like at least of how they say them. Like obviously like it's a different writing system, but
Hmm.
kind of look at like the Aleph versus is like Adif.
Yeah, the alif versus the aleph. Yeah.
Hmm. And it's just like I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but like Hebrew and Arabic have a lot of overlap than you think.
They kind of do. I mean, they are both in the Middle Eastern areas of the world. So it's one of those interesting moments where you discover the roots of those languages to kind of figure out, where it branched off and where the writing styles came from. Because even some words Arabic sound very, in Arabic and Hindi, sound very close to some of the words in Swahili, funny enough,
Mm-hmm.
which is a more African style language.
Yep.
Like as an example, Hindi, the word for book is kitab. And
Yep.
then in Swahili, the word for book is kitabu. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the correlation is there. So it's like, I still have yet to discover like what the roots of those languages are to see like where the connection is.
Yeah. And I kind of something that I learned in one of my religions class because like obviously when you learn about Judaism, you kind of and obviously Judaism has like is like heavily Hebrew, uses a lot of Hebrew alphabet and language. And then you go to Islam and and you see Islam and like obviously Arabic is a big language because like it was founded it was founded with the it was founded in like the Arabic speaking areas. And yeah, you and another thing that Hebrew has is it also has the diacritics, at least like modern Hebrew does. Is like you kind of I kind of have on my phone here one that has like the Hebrew Bible, and I kind of see you can't really probably would be hard to see if you could. Yeah, no, you ain't gonna see that.
No.
Kind of you see a lot of the dots it's there too. And yeah, it's supposed to say like, okay, the vowels, as the sound, what sound they make, how long you say it, kind of like that stuff.
All fun stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah. And then another aspect that both of these have is that you read right to left typically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So kind of like how we mentioned with Japanese, sometimes you read top to bottom, right, right to left. In Arabic and Hebrew, typically the main rule is that you read right to left. And though I think I don't know about Hebrew, but I do remember you mentioning that in Arabic it changes like when you deal with like numbers and all that stuff, if I recall.
Yeah, with numbers in Arabic, that's when you switch to the left to right reading style, and then you go right back into the right to left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds about right. All right. And oh yeah, and I do remember one other thing in my real religions class is just like when you have like Judaism and Islam with like the Hebrew and Arabic. If you like consider shalom is like peace, is when you take the consonants out is like it's like technically SHLM. When you take the vowels out, you get like SHLM, but it's very close. And then like you get salam, and then you have like salam. You take the vowels out of that, you just get SLM, which is very similar to each other. And I say like a lot of error, and as we said, like Hebrew and Arabic, like when you like look at them, you start to recognize patterns.
Oh yeah,
And
for
I think
sure.
yeah, kind of like how we always recognize patterns and like between English, French, Spanish, it's German, Italian.
Mm-hmm.
All these like have similar roots with each other. I mean, granted, some of the ones that I mentioned have stronger connections than others.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just kind of overall, as we as we say, like just because some have different writing systems, especially if they're close together, there's sometimes aims have patterns between them.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think I have anything else with the Hebrew or Arabic, so
Nope.
we'll
Now it.
just go into two more writing systems. I don't have a whole bunch to say on them as much, but we
There.
can look at like a couple of the European and
I mean, the final two we've got
East
actually
Asian.
have some pretty similar writing styles to them. Funny enough.
Yep. And you kind of look at the Cyrillic language. This is typically what you would think of for the Russian.
I know
And
Bulgarian also uses that one.
yeah,
Same with
yeah,
Mongolian.
yeah, like Mongolian. I think also Ukrainian does too.
Yeah, Ukrainian does use the Cyrillic alphabet as well.
Yeah, but Russian is probably the most popular one.
Yeah,
Uh,
Russian tends to be the one that everybody uh, coordinates or connects the Cyrillic alphabet to. Um,
hmm
it's mostly through like how it looks. Like not many people realize what other languages uses the Cyrillic writing styles. It's kind of impressive, honestly, just how many
Yeah.
actually share the Cyrillic writing style.
hmm
And I mean, if we take a look at Greek as well, they use some of the same characters. So like the one that looks like a P is also an R in Greek.
Yeah.
So
And we will actually be talking about the Greek alphabet, but yeah, they basically just like a lot of them you probably recognize. Some of them you probably recognize is just like, oh, okay, so A, the one that looks like an A is an A, and then what looks like a M is an M, and what looks like an O is an O. But then you look at like other one, and what is T is a T. But then you look at other ones like, hey, wait a second, the B is a V, the the uh
the H
the
is an
H is an
N.
N, the P is an R, the C is an S. What
The
is
the
this?
Y is a U.
The Y is a U. Yeah, you kind of look at these and it's just like, what? And it's just like, but it's like, yeah, some of it. There's a lot of overlap between the Latin and the Cyrillic, and and the Greek as well. But then you look at other letters, just like, wait, what? So, and then like we also have ones that are very unique to it, at least in some ways, like the j
Yeah.
right here, the other interesting looking characters, like that's the L, that's the G, that's the D, that's the F,
Yeah, it's a lot of
and that,
it's a lot of interesting looking characters. The F in Russian actually looks the same as the F in Greek.
yep. All right, so I think we should go ahead and look at the Greek. So, so yeah, we look at the Greek. They kind of have a similar thing. You recognize some you recognize some characters as certain ones, like, oh, okay, so yeah, that's the that's the A, that A right there is the A. That Z right there is a Z. Um, let's see, I know there was a yeah, I don't
There's
yeah,
not
I
a lot of
know.
huge there's not a lot of huge big signifiers for it. So I think what makes
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
it's kind of the same with Russian, where you have all the different characters that look like they could be the same, but then the moment you go into, use the word in a, use the letter in a word, sometimes the pronunciation doesn't completely make sense.
Yeah.
Like
Like you look at this P right here.
that makes an R
Again.
sound.
Yep, it does. This is the P sound.
Yep. Your good old pi
hmm
symbol is a P in
Yeah.
Greek.
Yeah. And more interestingly, the X makes the sound. I think that's the same in Cyrillic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, same with
Yeah.
Cyrillic.
Yeah, they kind of make the which if you've studied German, you probably recognize it.
You probably
And
recognize
with
that
the
sound very well. Yeah. Sometimes the
yeah,
CHs do that.
yeah. So sometimes they'll sound like a sh, depending on what, or a ch. depending on what happens before it. But typically, the ch by itself will make the sound, kind of almost a slight gurgle hiss type
Yeah,
thing.
that's a good way to
Uh,
describe it.
yeah, and yeah, Greek and Cyrillic. But these are typically two decently well-known different systems that aren't just the Latin alphabet. I don't I don't really think honestly, other than Cyrillic and Greek, I don't really think of many outside of any like big European or uh, big European and or like West Asian and country is that use a different system that's not the Latin system.
Yeah,
There's
I can't
probably
think of
like a
any.
couple, but
Probably.
if I maybe the not Scandinavian, Slovenian system places. I don't know, like Croatian. I don't know. I think that one's similar to Cyrillic, but different in some ways.
Probably, I
I
would
don't know.
imagine so.
Or maybe it's Latin. I don't remember. I looked at Croatian once, but I don't remember what it was.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's the thing. Here was that fee that we were looking. That makes the F sound, if I recall, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, there's your F in Greek.
Good old
Fee,
Phi.
phi. Yeah, phi. That's how it is. And yeah, that's basic. And that's basically all the writing systems for today. Maybe if we do this again, we can go into some more obscure ones.
Oh yeah, like I could name many things. I mean, you got the writing style for like Burmese, Amharic. There's a good number of different
Yeah,
writing styles to use
yeah, yeah,
that many people don't think of. But
yeah,
we'll have to save that for a
yeah,
different episode.
yeah. And I'd say like most of those other ones are kind of smaller. Like I could definitely go into like other ones like Armenian
Yeah,
and Tigrinya. The some of the which the latter which is like really small. There's not a lot of resources for that, but yeah, basically kind of uh, that's basically all I have for today in terms of the writing systems. So yeah, overall, it's really cool to look at the other writing systems.
it
Like,
really is. And if you guys are listening on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I recommend listening. Wait, how do you?
you mean watching it on YouTube to kind of?
I was gonna say look up the alphabet so that they could
Oh
see for
yeah, look it
themselves.
up.
That's what I was going for. It was like some sort of L word I was looking for. But apparently listening came up instead of looking. So
Same difference.
some days my brain wants to work, some days my computer doesn't want to work.
Yeah,
We're thankful that at least today technology worked with us.
yeah. Well, yeah, that is a good thing.
We got past that hassle.
Yep.
And so with that actually brings us to the end of this discussion. You know,
Yep.
we thank you guys for jumping on. We thank you guys for tuning in, and just keep expecting these episodes. We got some really big things planned coming up, so we hope you guys stick
Mhm.
around because these next several episodes, we're really gonna start cranking in the big guns. Some big things are coming up, and we're really excited to introduce them. And so,
Yep.
with that, thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you all next time.
Later.
Adios.
Adios. Auf Wiedersehen.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you have a suggestion for what you want us to discuss, please leave us a message either through our email or through social media. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope you sit with us again in the Language Learners Lounge.